Times are tough here at Distorted Views. We can only afford 2 podcast arms.
Because it's so big, you have the little mics and mine's just too
No,
heavy.
we can actually explain why we don't have 3, because it might be an interesting little
Because
segment.
Max can't read 2 USBs at the same
No,
time.
it's not. It's not.
Mac Master Race.
There is a huge debate in this band between Mac and PC as like 2 Mac users versus 1 PC. But the real issue is that these are USB mics, and for whatever reason, the computer can't pick up 2 mics at once.
Something to scream about!
Anyway, good evening, good morning. Welcome to Something to Scream About with Distorted Views. This is episode 20. We made it to the end of year 2 of the podcast.
Yay.
Celebration Station, population us.
Right.
How are you guys? How was your Christmas? It is currently the 27th of December. How was your Christmas?
Ate a lot of food, gained 3 kilos so far.
That sounds like a whopping great Christmas.
Yeah, it was good. No, it was decent.
right.
I enjoyed myself. I was just with family. My brother was here from Bloody, so that was good. Everyone was there, and we just spent quality time together. That's what it's all about. So, enjoyed myself.
That's it. It's about eating probably more than you should and spending time with loved ones. So hopefully everyone out there got to have a fabulous Christmas. And we actually have a Christmas present for everybody arriving in a few days, don't we? Yeah, I don't know why you need to do that noise, but it's
Interference!
we have interference dropping in 3 days. And whether you listen to this podcast first or you see the announcement on social media, you will know to pre-save it, because that helps us a lot. It helps, the
Appreciate that
algorithm.
shit.
Also helps you.
Yeah,
'Cause
does it?
Because it'll just pop up.
Of course it does.
As soon as if you forget, like you'll just load up Spotty one day and it just goes boom and it just pops up there.
And there it is, yeah. And then
There you're ready to
it'll
go.
automatically add to your playlists, and you'll never have to worry that you miss out on quality music.
Ever again.
Ever.
Yeah. So we thought we'd drop one of these tunes before the end of the new year. We've been working on a lot of music this year, but only one song actually prior to this one made it through the cracks, so to speak.
Yeah, we were talking about that before. We were like, oh, let's recap music we've released this year. And we're like, we fucking put one song out. Like,
Yeah.
But we've actually written probably over 10. So,
Yeah, it's just the way release schedules work. When you're a new band, especially, you're sort of trying to get that repertoire under your belt, trying to build up a few songs so that you're ahead of the curve.
we don't want to just drop music and be like, here's the YouTube link. Please listen to my new song. And then 3 people click it and that's it.
That's literally what's about to happen in a few days.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, we did a whole promo. I
Yeah,
made
true.
a visual. We're
That's
all right.
true. Actually, yeah, we should announce it's being premiered with
Heavy Mag.
Heavy Magazine. So
Yeah.
head over
Presave.
to
Thanks,
head to the Heavy Magazine Facebook page, I believe, and they'll be premiering the video and the song midnight, I think. So on the 29th.
If you're up that late.
Yeah, stay up for us.
Blast it all on New Year's and get on the beers.
Yeah.
Dunskies.
That's what I'll be doing.
Great
It's
idea.
It's a banger. Drop E with a breakdown. So come on.
Yeah, I mean, those two things put together. So it's coming out on Heavy Mag, and then we're into the new year with 2. Well, EKO was New Year's Eve last year, then Glitch somewhere in between, and then we're going to do pretty much New Year's again.
Yeah.
And then we're going to start pushing out a lot of music into 2023. So maybe do you
We're
want to
ahead.
go
We're-
ahead and talk about a few of those?
We're ahead
plans?
of schedule on purpose. So then whilst we're drip feeding you guys content and songs and stuff, we're like 6 months to a year ahead. So we think that'll be able to get us always constantly releasing music, which should be theoretically better than the music that was released before, you would hope. So as we, get better at mixing, producing, get our instruments, vocals, everything, we just keep getting better and better and better. Music keeps getting better and better and better. We just keep releasing stuff, and yeah, it's going to be sweet. We're adding to it visualizers, and I've been working on Blender and 3D building, and trying to put a theme to the songs instead of it just being the audio. Now we're trying to do a bunch of other stuff. Podcast will keep getting more and more cooler guests on. We got some few people lined up for next year. Won't say who it is, but that's going to be awesome, and we'll just keep doing our thing.
Yeah, podcast actually. Speaking of which, because today's episode we're going to recap kind of the year.
Yeah.
Both as a band but also on the podcast. So we can maybe start with that. We had some guests this year. That was the first time we've started bringing people onto the podcast, and I think it's been invaluable, not only just to kind of get another voice as opposed to our voices all the time, but hear somebody else's perspective, share and relate on different topics, and then, just generally get an insight into behind the curtain of what happens out there in the real world, so to speak. So for me, one of the highlights, I guess, early on was hooking up with Jaden from Stepson, because that was kind of our first, okay, we've got somebody that's just played at Full Tilt Festival with North Lane. We'd just been to that festival, so it was really exciting to kind of find someone who's been involved with those types of gigs and then hear that side of the story. So for me, that was a really kind of big highlight to hear what he had to say.
I think it opened the door as well for our mindset of being not being afraid to ask people that you think might be, out of your league necessarily, to jump on the podcast. Because if you look back throughout the year, you were just we've just been getting progressively more talented people on the podcast, more connected people, more people that are higher up in the industry, and it just keeps getting piggybacking better and better. And the people that we potentially might be having on next year is even higher again. So I'm so excited about it. But I think Jaden was definitely the first person to be like, wow, this dude's legit, great musician in a really cool band. They're actually doing stuff more than just your local small gig at a pub, that's where we're at right now, essentially. We're not doing anything big yet. But, and then just cool, they're progressing that level. And it's that's where we want to be eventually, is getting on, anywhere from your small band down the road to massive bands that are touring the world. It's that's the whole goal of it. So
yeah, it's giving a platform to some people that we find interesting and that we really want to just sit down and talk to, get to know and figure out how they do what they do. Because genuinely, if we find it interesting, then it's going to help somebody else as well.
Across all industries as well, not just oh, he's in a band that's famous, let's get him on. It's well, no, there's also sound engineers we could get on. That would be really cool. That would be actually a sick one, live sound engineer, someone who's done stuff for big people that have come in, and that'd be great.
Yeah,
and
if anyone knows anyone, hit us up and we'll get them on.
Even if you yourself are listening to this and you're soundy,
different categories of this genre is just good to have different opinions, but also kind of just relate to the main concept of making music.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to be a vocalist or a band player, which is sick to have that. But I think having Third Eye Visuals and having Ben on was fucking sick, because it was they're in the industry, they're doing all the touring, they're helping out with the equipment and the lugging of stuff and everything, and you're but then they're in actually a different industry, but they're involved in the same concept.
Yeah,
well, I was gonna sneeze and then it went away. That was weird. It was here it is and it's gone.
Let's rewind.
Just all your money in the bank.
Yeah.
All right. So that's sick, man.
Yeah,
Potty's been great this year.
That's true, because another one that we had on was Chris from Heavy Mag, and like you said, he's just involved in looking at the industry from a bird's eye perspective, chatting to all the people that are involved in it. He doesn't actually get to sort of experience the same things that the band members or people like us might experience, and then we don't get to see it from his perspective. So it was really interesting to see how he views bands that are successful and what makes them successful, and then also kind of mistakes that he sees quite regularly. It's just why not learn from these kinds of people? Why not want to level up and figure out where you're going wrong and all of that kind of stuff?
Getting insight from different people is so important. Being one-sided and having just one opinion too is boring. But you get the insight of someone who's oh, I saw this and this, Ben talking about some bands from other countries having way more egos, and then you have other bands from Australia and they're just so chill, and it just says a lot about the culture. And maybe if we ever got big enough to do a tour in America, that'd be good having that information and knowing that they're a bit more uptight there. They're a bit more, it's not gonna be like, whatever, man, just fucking chuck your guitar in and have a crack. Like Australia, we're so laid back. It's like,
That's so
it's still
true.
part of the experience, isn't it?
Yeah,
think
you've
it's
got to take it in control.
Sorry, I think it's the best thing as well that shit, I forgot what I was saying. I forgot what I was saying.
Zachy smoked this morning. Boys
Yeah,
and
I've
girls.
always smoked. I had it.
No, you
and it
rehearse
just
it, rehearse it, and you had another 5
Yeah.
minutes, and then just step in.
Give me
there.
like 8 minutes, and I'll remember it. 8.5.
Always behind the convo.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It's all good. We'll just we'll move on a little bit. But in terms of like what you're saying with guests and stuff for next year, I'd really like to try and bring on a bit more of like maybe 1 or 2 people from a band or a group or some sort of thing that have a dynamic as well, because like say sharing with one person is cool because they get to kind of open up and be themselves, but when you've got 2 people, they can bring a bit of that band culture or that group working environment with them, and you can see how they interact between each
Brings
other.
their structure, yeah.
Yeah, and you can kind of get an insight into how they operate between each other and how that dynamic works. And that's something that's I think really been missing a lot from a lot of bands, and including, us trying to figure out personalities and dynamics and just working out how to get the best band environment moving forward. Maybe something we've struggled with this year is trying to kind of, and being held back by not being able to release music and stuff because of various changes of members and structure. Getting an insight into someone else's structure and how they've done things well and not well and manage different personalities and these kinds of things. It's really valuable insight. I think recently Parkway Drive put out another documentary on their on ABC or something over here in Australia, and that had a big part to play with how they balanced and used a friendship that started when they were really young and then had to navigate when money comes into it and contracts and obligations and who's doing more work and commitments and all of this stuff moving over 20 years as a band. It was kind of interesting to relate that back to us and see what do we do well, how can we learn from this, and then just getting other bands and other people's perspective on that as well.
Yeah, for sure. I think having the dynamic there of different people speaking differently, like you can say one thing to one person, and in your mind, you're like, oh, that's the way that I would perceive it. Like whatever the point is you're trying to get across to them, you might be like, yeah, that's how, if I said it like that, that's how I would perceive it. But then someone else doesn't have that same way of thinking. They may have different culture, they were raised differently, they had different friend groups or whatever it may be. And then the way that they perceive things is slightly different to you. So like you're trying to get a point across, and you might have to say the same thing but use different words and a different way to get there to make it click in someone else's brain, like to get that ideology in their head. It's like when you try to say like, oh, can the guitar part be like this? And because you're not a guitarist, you're like trying to think of a way to
explain
it.
Everyone has to explain things differently to me.
Zach go brie. Oh, like this brie.
Like this. Oh.
Yeah. Oh. You know that meme.
Oh.
But yeah, and it's like, when I have like different drum things and I don't know the names, I'm like a splashy cymbal China thing. I'm like, just
that thing.
You're like, oh yes,
I know that.
So yeah, like just being able to get our ideas across to people. Like, yeah, even with vocals, it'd be like, can you be more emotional? And it's like just goes way harder. But like, we're not saying harder. Like, just trying to get like the idea across is very hard.
Usually it's explaining by doing the actual stream, and I'll be like, oh, okay, I know what you're thinking now. Because sometimes words I can hear them differently, or they mean a separate thing to what everyone else is thinking. And once I get the point across, I get it done. So that's good.
I had a client in my studio once where I was like, oh, you need to go higher. And I meant like higher in pitch, but he thought I meant higher in volume. And then he just like yelled the line, and I was like, I meant higher in pitch, bro. But anyway, yeah.
No, that's it. It's kind of like learning curve for everybody. If you work out what a kind of type of person somebody is and how they best operate, and we've kind of spoken about this over episodes this year about working out each other and the writing styles and where we best fit in terms of creating the whole song from start to finish, the whole creation process, who does what, and what roles you have, and kind of you have to find these lanes and sort of stick to them and operate within your scope and learn how other people work within theirs, and then kind of juggle this in a cohesive and happy
Yeah,
way.
it's a mix between staying within your lane, but then also pushing, you know,
Boundaries.
boundaries of what you could do and potentially do, and every now and then dipping your toe outside of that and just trying to, oh, what about this though? And if it doesn't work, being like, okay, that doesn't work. But
You
then
never
on
want to peak. You just never want to just be at the one point for the whole time you're in a project. You want to at least attempt new things. You can be really bad at it, but if as long as you try and give it a chance,
yeah, and
you'll
it's
you'll figure it out. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. At least you gave it a go.
Yeah, and you need like, the way that the structure for us has always worked is that, me and Jordan work very differently in regards to producing and what motivates us and where our creativity wants to go and run with things. But it took us fucking ages to figure out it, because having two producers, it's like having two head chefs in the kitchen. They're both awesome cooks, but you try and get them to both cook a fucking the same meal at the same time. They're fighting over the pan. It's like,
Yeah.
it just doesn't work. Yeah. But you go, all right, you go prep the spices. I'm going to cook the meat, whatever. Right. You figure out a way to make it work. And then I think we're finally at a stage now where we've really figured out where we both shine and who does what better. And we're just like, the band's been a lot better. And actually, like, even just off the top of my head, just not changing the subject, but just I'm thinking of like cutting out members that haven't necessarily worked out has actually been a good thing, and it was a very, very hard choice to make when we're doing it, because it just felt like it was this endless trial of like new person, new person, new person, and we're just like, we just want to play gigs and play shows, and then teaching new people riffs and tabs, and me writing out every single stupid fucking number of every single tab of every single damn song, and I ADHD, I hate it. Like, it's, but you can't, you have to write tabs. It's the only way to really teach people, right? So I think going down to a three piece and just simplifying everything and just being like, what do you do that's good? Okay, stay there. What do you do that's good? Play guitar? Cool, stay there. What do you do that's good? Vocals? Cool. But let's just nail that for now and let the rest happen naturally. And I think we've found this dynamic that's finally starting to work. And next year it's going to be really exciting to be able to play shows again. And even though we're just a three piece, we're going to be able to make it work. With the problem solving skills we've had, we've had different issues like bass live and what's the best way to run it and not be too reliant on backing tracks, but also have backing tracks to help support us. And we're very taking the live element very seriously. We don't want 90% of our sound to be through the speakers and a PA. Like, we want to be live still. So there's been a whole bunch of things, but I think that have been beneficial to us. Every problem has had a beneficial lining to it.
Yeah, it was definitely for me one of the more frustrating and low parts of the year, sort of getting to a point where we'd written all of this great music for a four piece,
Yeah. For
or
five piece
for
even.
two guitar, yeah, five
Yeah,
piece,
dual
two guitars.
guitars and like, oh, that's gonna go on the backing now, and yeah,
Yeah, and like, sort of then not being able to perform that live and having to adapt has been, like you say, kind of a blessing in disguise. Having to rethink our whole strategy. That's a lot of the reason why we didn't get the music out and why it's sort of
oh
being
yeah,
being drip fed in different ways. But to move into next year, obviously we're going to be a three piece and trying to solidify what we do really well, and maybe being a bit more cautious about how we add to that lineup in the future. But I see it still adapting and changing, and it's just part of it, man. You just gotta roll with the punches, and
I'm just glad we're documenting it all now, because even though we haven't done shit yet, I really hope that in the future, with our hard work and persistency, if that's the
yeah,
word, consistency, whatever, that we can get somewhere with the band and eventually have thousands of fans, and that would
It
be
attracts other
awesome.
people, yeah.
And then you'll be able to watch it all, and then you look back on it and you go like, wow, like 3 years ago these dudes were doing a little potty in their studio, and they were talking about all these issues and problems that, like, we've documented the whole process. I think it'll be make it that much more rewarding if we ever do get somewhere in the future with it, which would be sick.
yeah, just gives you something to look back on, and other, I would watch I do watch big bands and how they started in the
It's the
studio.
side of the band that people don't see a lot of the
Yeah.
time. You know, bands you don't really see them until they're already killing it, and then they're just like superstars and pop stars. It's like I want to see the human side, man. I
Yeah.
want to see you two arguing over like the riff, and I want to
Yeah.
see you like that's I like.
And we
that.
saw that first with Metallica when they
Mm.
did Some Kind of Monster, and like they had to go to counseling, and like Lars is like just yelling and stuff, and it's like whoa, like you kind of just see
It's
these
emotional,
guys.
bro. Like
Yeah,
music is very passionate. If you're not that passionate about your music and you're like, oh, whatever, I don't care, then you probably shouldn't be fucking doing it. To be honest.
totally agree. But yeah, is there any other sort of low moments or any kind of other?
When Zach joined, that was pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, that was amazing. When
losing Morgan sucked because I really like that kid.
Yeah, that's so true.
And I'm close with him. His family are lovely, and just being like an actual friend first, that was that was actually really hard. Because every other person we've had out of the band, we weren't friends on that personal level. Like we definitely were like friendly with each other, and we were like acquaintances, and we hung out and played music. But like Morgan, I actually generally liked as a person, so I was like that sucked.
Yeah, it does suck, and it's like it's these human elements that make it very, very difficult. And yeah, hopefully it means better things. I think obviously it has been quite positive to try and go through this learning experience, but yeah, we'll soon find out.
I mean, re-recording the EP about 8 fucking times because
that was
we made so many mistakes on it. Like just sitting too close to the computer when we're recording and not realizing it because you got all this distortion on your guitar. But then obviously because we're doing a lot of DI stuff, when we're playing it back for reamping later, you just hear this in the DI and you're like,
yeah.
One time my bass picked up a radio station. I don't know how. I'm listening to the bass DI and there's literally the dog races or something coming through my pickup. I don't know what that was, but I was like, okay.
All right.
So,
that's amazing.
Yeah, re-recording a music 8, 9 freaking 100 times. Thinking the mix is good, giving your ears a rest, coming back to it 2 weeks later and just hearing whistles and muddiness and vocals are too loud or too quiet and just there's a bunch of stuff. There's a bunch of lows. I could go on forever.
What about you, Zachy? Anything depress you out this year? When did you actually join? What month was it?
I joined around about my birthday, which is June.
June. So you've been 6 months with old DV.
6 months. I hadn't really.
Should have got him some flowers.
Yeah. Where's my flowers?
6 month anniversary.
Where's my flowers?
Get him some flowers.
I haven't really had any low moments yet. It's nothing really.
Well, you're about to because you're out of the.
Was jumping into projects that were already at full effect, and you had to adapt to what we were doing, not what you wanted to do. Was that hard?
It was overwhelming, but it wasn't a low point. It was exciting because I got to learn, and I've excelled so much before I joined. Because I literally just did covers. So I've learnt a lot. Yes, it's stressful and yes, it's overwhelming. People get frustrated. We all get frustrated, but it's exciting for me. I'm always keen to progress musically and as a person because that's what I'm here for. But as far as low or depressing moments, I don't think I've had any personally. It's all been pretty positive for me.
Yeah, that's it, man. It's good to have that attitude, like, just being open, keen to work on everything, and like that's what we try and develop as our culture here.
Realistically, I know better than I know how to respect myself. If I was depressed or if I was having shit moments, I just wouldn't be here.
Anyway, guys, here we go.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm out. Yeah. Well, you can talk to us about these things.
What's a high moment?
No.
High moment. I've had plenty of those.
We play?
I'm scared. Just because I've had a happy year.
Did we play any shows this year at all?
No.
What was Moondall was our last show. Oh
yeah,
my god, we suck. Ladies and gentlemen, we suck.
Next year, we're not
actually a band.
We're gonna play so much next year. I'm gonna be like gigging every single Saturday by myself. I'm one of those cunts with John's on his backpack and he's like stomping around with the guitar and everything. Harmonica.
We might have to.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it will be really exciting to play because now that we have a bit of repertoire under our belt with 3 of us that's playable live by 3 of us plus a bass and backing track, we can pull it off. So actually, if anyone's keen, if anyone's listening, probably going to start playing from maybe March-ish, I think.
Yeah.
Let's just aim for that. March onwards, we'll start trying to be playing. So look out for us on the scene, the circuit. Come say what's up. And yeah. But in terms of like happy moments, high moments, for me, apart from always getting new gear, I've leveled up a lot of my gear this year. Drum gear, new cymbals, double kick pedals, snare
Yeah.
drums.
It-
Apart from that stuff, that's
Yeah.
always great.
There's always a silver lining. Like, yeah, we haven't played shows for a year, but we've also evolved so much musically. I've practiced guitar more than I ever have.
Much more ready to hit the stage.
Yeah, I'm very confident that the shows we're going to put on are going to be a lot better, polished. The music's better, my playing's better, vocals are better, drumming's better, the gear's better, new audio interfaces, new guitar. I got a baritone, like for, instead of using that other guitar I've got a new one. And
yeah, we're certainly in much better position to be able to do it. And we haven't wasted the time. It's a lot of new music, a lot of new skills. So, but it's going like, this year, figuring out those steps. And I think, things like visuals has been an awesome high moment for us, like coming into being able to do all of these new wicked visuals in-house. That's certainly a big door that's unlocked for us. Also going with the decision to put the bass in the backing track, not worry about it, and actually go, okay, let's own 3 pieces and let's just like really rock this. That's also been really exciting because it's pumped me up to play again and release music and, get excited for the new year.
And it's still a real bass being played. Like I recorded all the bass, and then we're just sending the signal through the audio interface, to the mixer. So it may be like computer being played by a computer, but it's not computer generated. It's not MIDI. You know what I mean? It's like, which we would prefer a real person there, but until we meet someone that's like the same commitment level as us, we're not just going to let the next guy that rocks up and says, "Oh, I'll play," just for 3 months or 6 months later to go, "Oh, I can't meet up every Saturday. That's too much commitment. One day a week is just too hard."
Yeah, it is a high bar to set, but it's like at the end of the day, like,
I don't think it's hard at all. But anyway,
no, I mean, like, you're right. It's not hard to be sort of dedicated and stuff like this if you want to be a part of something. But I mean, it does weed out a hell of a lot of people who just want to casually, strum around with mates. It's kind of like, either are we doing this or are we not doing this? It's like, let's try and make something really work here.
No gray area, really. It's just black and white.
Yeah, I can't help but want to go all in, dude. Like it's not as fun for me to
part
dabble.
of my personality just to go hard at everything.
I didn't even want to do visuals necessarily. I just thought like, oh, I'll have a look at this, and then I went, "Hey guys, I made this," and then the boys were like,
and now he does it every day.
Yeah, and then the boys were like, "That's actually pretty cool," and I'm like, "Really?
Yeah.
Let me go put 20 hours of studying into
every
this."
day.
And then I'm just like fucking.
I know, easily addicted to stuff that's like, creating new things and just
That's
learning.
what we need, though. We need someone that finds interest in that and goes all out into it.
Even if it doesn't work, it's like you can say at the end of it, let's say we're fucking 40 years old, band's hasn't done really much, and we go, "Yeah, right, boys, that was fun. We gave it our all. We really tried." I would be happy with that. If the band never went anywhere and we gave it everything, I'd still be able to look back and be like, "That was mad. We played shows. We really gave it our all." But to look back later and be like, "Oh, we could have gone big if we just really tried," that would hurt me way more than failing. Like failing's cool, bro. I don't care.
Yeah,
Like,
die on your own sword, man. Like, go to battle and like don't let anybody else tell you that you should be doing something if you really don't want to be doing it. It's like, go out, chase your dreams, which we're trying to do. So in terms of looking into next year with music wise, we're going to try and release a few songs possibly before we play live. Is that right? That are 3-piece heavy, or we're not sure.
I don't even know what we're doing, to be honest. I know we got at least 6, no, more than that. I'm about 10 songs that have like pretty much ready to go.
Yeah, so we're getting up to half an hour of set.
Yeah, so we've got music that we're ready to go and play live, and we've got 5 songs that are mixed, mastered, produced, ready to be completely dropped. Right. So I know that we're drip feeding stuff next year, and I suppose the plan would be, in my eyes, would be to drop the stuff from the last EP that's
Yeah,
already done, that was done last year. Oh, not last year, sorry. It will
this
be
year.
last year. Yeah, it'll be last year after New Year's. So it'd be like, yeah, but that's already done. And then whilst that's being drip fed every single month, new song every single month or every single 2 weeks, whatever we end up doing, probably once a month, we're finishing the mix and the masters because it's already written. These other songs are just not mixed and mastered. Mix the master the new songs and drip feed them simultaneously as we are gigging and playing the set. So we'll technically be playing songs that aren't released yet, but they will be getting released as we're playing shows.
Yeah, that's cool. Because I think obviously we've had to think about
There's a lot of the EP we can't play
Yeah,
live because
like-
it's dual guitar
majority
stuff.
of the stuff that we have or have out, or will be, out at the time we want to start gigging is stuff we can't play. So that's why it's
Yeah.
like very difficult to kind of.
There was this threshold we had to pass of like, do we want to hold these songs that are already done, mixed, mastered, produced, recorded, bang, ready to go? Do we just want to hold them on the side and not release them until we become a 4-piece again in the future? Because we are open to being a 4-piece again when we meet the right person, and then release them. Or should we just release them now and then people can still listen to them on Spotify and YouTube and stuff? And then when they see us live, we just play the songs that we can play live. That's I think what we've swung to because, we've still got plenty of songs that we can play live. Like there's only 2 songs on this EP that I can play live because I'm playing guitar and doing vocals at the same time. So it's very hard when the riffs, semi-complicated and then the vocal rap or the screams are like all these different syllables that don't line up. It's like when you're just strumming 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's pretty easy to do vocals and scream, vocals and play guitar at the same time because you can just line it up with the chord change. But when you're going bump to bump, 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 like, and then trying to go, what's up, bro?
I think, yeah. To some of the guys that can pull off some of that sort of stuff. Or
the girl from Crave, you're amazing. If you're listening, she can do that. She can play.
Let's get her on the podcast.
We should get her on the podcast. Remember the whole all 3 of them.
Yeah.
They're awesome.
Is there 3? I thought there was more than that.
No, they're 3-piece.
3-piece, doing good things.
Guitarist, she actually plays bass and does vocals live. And
that's embarrassing. We're being absolutely shown up. Let's get her on and figure out how she does it because that would be wicked. More people like that, and I think that's another thing is like I'd really like to do next year is after playing more gigs and being
working with people.
Yeah, just being involved in our local scene more and just knowing more of the people that are out there because like. I tend to end up just going, I like just playing my drums and mixing my music. And it's like, I'll just not venture out too much. And like, you went out to a gig and when we go out to gigs, it's like fun and you can meet all these people and get inspired. And I think that's something I'd like to really try and focus more on myself personally and maybe as a band to try and get out there and meet more people.
That's what I like to do as well. I like to get myself out there and speak to band members. It helps me gain some confidence as well because, I look up to those guys and the fact that they are chatting is just awesome. And that also, it not only helps me, but it helps the band as well.
For sure.
For future contacts, wherever I could feature
Bills in
or
the future, gig in the future.
whatever, getting gigs or support,
Yeah.
that type of thing. It helps me build up the confidence to speak to higher ups.
That's right.
And it helps the band as well, whether it does or not conclude.
Yeah,
but
and it's good to support other bands. Like if we're out there going, come to our shows, like we need to be going to other people's shows.
90% of it is going there to enjoy it.
Yeah, so go and support and listen and kind of take feedback back to Basecamp.
We went to Brightside the other week. Me and Morgan went out and it was sick. We just had a few drinks, watched some bands play, and we weren't on the set, so it was just mad to just be the audience member sometimes. Like you're so used to being on the gig and in the show with all your gear. It's awesome just going as an audience member sometimes too, because you're not lugging around all this crap. Because I'm paranoid with all the gear because it's like $10,000 worth of fucking stuff. So I'm like, I don't like. I was leaving in the green room.
So if you're looking for somewhere to steal gear, come to our shows. There's
come and try and steal my shit, bro. I'll fucking knock you the fuck out. Anyway,
that's so true.
But yeah, when you're just the audience member, it's like you can just have a few drinks, like listen to some bands play. It was just sick, like I was headbanging, man. I nearly moshed. I got a bad back, and I nearly when I partay it.
It's got to be that good.
playing.
If
I hope I'm saying that
Cam's
correctly.
nearly throwing down, you know it's good.
There was a chicken there, and I was just like, no. There actually was a girl in there.
We've been cancelled.
She was going fucking ham.
That's I
They
know.
always do. They always do.
They don't hold
And then
back.
she gets hit, and she's like, "You fucking sexist." Oh, get out of the pit, bitch. No, she's crazy. Oh, no, I've lost my filter today, boys.
Honestly,
it's nearly New Year's.
Honestly, though, I feel as if, like, you know, equal respect here. Like, but if you're asking for it, going in the middle of a wall of death or a circle pit, it doesn't matter who you are.
That's why I avoid it most of the time, because I'm like, I have a temper and I know what I'm like. And if I go in there and I get hit and I get angry about it, I'm the dickhead, because it's like, don't go in the pit then if you don't want to get hit.
Yeah, it's like, you know, people are flailing arms and legs around, and you're gonna cop something.
Wavy arm inflatable tube.
Yeah, I see some chicks getting in there and just throwing hands at random people, and I just stand there and like, what do you expect?
Yeah,
and then
I mean, if you have fun and you get hit and you're bleeding from the nose and you're just like, whoa,
I see
cool,
them 10 seconds like
it.
crying and whinging and leaving the mosh with a blood nose. It's like, well,
I know.
kind of what it's about. If you're gonna throw hands at people.
Take a selfie and put it on social media like, I was hit at a metal show.
Oh dear.
For no reason. You see that? What was that show recently where the guy threw the mic in the crowd, and he's always done it for years. He throws the mic at the end of the show and it
hit someone, yeah.
And then she like took a photo and was like, I was bashed by the lead singer of blah blah blah. And then the guy was like, I always do that. I throw the mic to the crowd.
He's like, it's like my signature move.
As if he looked at you and went, fucking bitch.
It's like, you know, like Steve Aoki like throws a cake at people at all of his shows. He like cakes people.
Fuck?
Have you not seen that? DJ Steve Aoki.
Oh yeah.
He runs out and like throws cakes at people, and I don't know. People want to go to a festival and get covered in sugar.
That reminds me of that funny show by that Aussie guy, and he dresses up as all the different people, and he bees the DJ who's like a real estate agent.
Oh, Chris Lilly.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, I'm gonna throw out fucking shit. He throws out something stupid to the crowd. He's like throwing out. I can't remember what it is, but it's something really dumb. He's like, eat your fucking lollies or something.
Yeah, he's like, get your lollies, put your hands up. He's great,
he's
honestly.
So funny.
Quentin, is that his name? Quentin, anyway.
Yeah, the real estate agent with the big ass.
That's so
funny. The whole
funny.
family's got big asses? Or...
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah, I think for our international audience, you should look that up. It's quite a hoot. Not accurate representation of how we all are at all. Yeah. Anyway, I think we should maybe wrap this up.
Any ones of your notes there, mate? Intro,
yeah. Outro, yeah. Outro. Wrap it up. That's what it says. No, basically, yeah. Go stream Interference if you're listening to this after the 30th. If you haven't, click the Presave link. Share the podcast around. Do all the nice things. Come chat to us on socials.
We're on Twitter now.
Woo! Yeah, come chat to me on Twitter.
Yeah, it's just Jordan. Do it.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, and same thing as always. If you got any ideas for future podcasts or whatever, just message us on Facebook. We have a 90% response rate, which is weird because we respond to literally everybody, but it's only 90%. It should be 100, but
it's because you didn't open my last message.
You know what it does? It says someone's shared your story, and it says that they've commented something to you, and then it counts as someone messaging you. It'll be like, blah, 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 sent you a message, and then you click on the notification. It's like they shared your story, and it's like, well, that's not...
It's not a message.
Message. Unless I reply to her sharing the story.
So it's ruining our
message
rating. Yeah.
Facebook.
Yeah,
How dare you, Facebook.
But yeah, anyway.
Anyway, yeah, thanks for a good year. Thanks for listening, for all those listening, and hopefully you can stick with us next year. You're not bored of us yet, but thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.